So welcome to our weekly 8FM book club hangouts, which are super awesome. I love seeing all of you here every week. And if you're watching the replay, you are more than welcome to join us live. I particularly love this book. I read ahead. I think it's a fantastic read, and it's really making me think a lot about different things. It's funny because I read it before, and the thing is that the first time I read it was a few years ago, and for whatever reason I just didn't resonate with it as much as I am right now. It's like certain things are hitting me a lot harder and just really making a lot of sense to me. So this week with what we're going over is chapter 2 and 3. And I love this quote. So chapter 2, the first ingredient, starts with the quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson: "Do the thing and you shall have the power." That is like bang on, right? Action, just do it. And, within this, like, I don't know, it means so much in it. It gives us self-confidence. It gives us experience. It gives us the ability to learn, to move forward, to progress. Everything just gets moving. It creates momentum. We tap into the compound effect. And I just love in this context that it isn't hard, right? I mean, the things he's talking about are simple. And this first ingredient is about really starting off with, because he talks about, that there's something before even getting into action. And if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to read just a part of here on the bottom of page 53. So I don't know if we all have the same copy, but it's below where he puts the quote into the actual chapter under life wisdom. And it says, your philosophy is what you know, how you hold what you know, and how it affects what you do. You can look at anyone's actions and trace back through the attitudes behind those actions to their source, the philosophy behind the attitudes. Show me what a man does, and I'll show you his philosophy. And it's, incredible that, and I read this, I think, somewhere from Tony Robbins, where, we don't really have to ask ourselves what we're committed to. We just have to look to our actions, and those actions show us our commitments. And I kind of feel like he's saying the same thing here, where if we can just look to what we do, we can actually see our own life philosophy come through in that. And so if we're having success in something, it can show within those actions of what we really believe. And also if we're having challenges, or maybe we keep going from that survival to that, I keep forgetting that middle, survival or failure to survival before success. I forget what he called it. But if we're constantly going up and down in that can reveal to us our philosophies and what we really believe. And he says a philosophy is something like, like this quote, "Do the thing and you shall have the power." And if we can bring that into our simple daily actions, where we understand that if we can just keep doing those things, that all of these amazing things will happen, and we can have this knowingness that they will happen. So I just wanted to open up the discussion here with this guy. It really hit me. I found it really powerful. I wrote it everywhere in my journal and rewrote it. If anyone wants to pop out, how do you feel about this?
Well, I think the one that really moved me was when he says it's never too late to start. I think this is in chapter 3, but it's always too late to wait. And I have a different version that I'm reading online, right? There's a PDF that I'm reading online. And then the book that I have, the version of the book I have doesn't have this chart. But in the PDF, it has this chart of these two, like, 24-year-olds. And one starts saving $2,000 a year for 7 years. And then he stops. And the other one doesn't start saving $2,000 a year until the 8th year. Well, this one that saved $2,000 a year for 7 years, it's compounding at 12%, and never saves again after the first 7 years. By the time he's 65, he makes $1 million. This one over here, who started in the 8th year, he had to invest $2,000 till he's 62 at 12% to hit the $1 million at 65. So he had to invest $54,000 more money. And, as a numbers girl, that made a tangible impact, right? I'm an accountant. I get that. And when you apply that to your simple daily actions, you know, how much does it cost me to get up and post a picture on Instagram today or do a new capture page? Half hour, 5 minutes, depending on what I'm doing. How much does it cost me if I wait 7 years to finally get around to doing that? If you put that in terms of financial and you look at that chart, it's like, it finally totally made perfect sense. And I'll share that chart with you because it's not, I haven't seen it in the book yet. Yes, exactly. So I don't know what version of the book you have, but it's not in my version of the book. It just made total sense because I've heard that before and like smart women think rich and things like that. But to put it into your daily actions really brought a different slant to what I'm doing every day and what difference it makes, right? It really makes tons of difference. What I do today, if I do it today, every day for the next 7 years, I can stop doing it and become a millionaire potentially, right? And that's kind of what David Wood did, right? Because he blogged, and then he stopped for a while, and he made just as much money when he stopped as when he was working. I think that's what we don't see because today, that money is not coming in. It will come in soon. It will be there soon, but it's not there today. We don't see the immediate results. That was mind-blowing to me. It just made everything more clear.
Wow.
I'll jump out. That's awesome, Leslie. That's sort of referring to the next chapter a bit. The one after the first ingredient. What's it called?
Yeah, the third chapter.
And we're sort of doing both of these chapters today, so we'll probably bounce back and forth around.
Yeah.
So yeah, that blew me away as well. I've got 3 children climbing around, so. But one of the things
we got baby birdies.
We rescued a couple of birds that fell out of a nest yesterday, and so there's little cheeping in the background.
Nice.
Yeah, I wanted to.
And they're in their nest. They're in their new nest.
One of the things that blew me away from the first ingredient chapter was Jetty. I'm just going to talk to you. Was about how he was talking about that philosophy, that first ingredient, him saying your philosophy being Jetty, please. Being it's like the catalyst that allows you to apply the information because, you know, just saying that everyone, you know, we have just so much access to really good information that really does work if you apply it. And so many people kind of try to apply it but don't get results. And he's like, that first ingredient of your philosophy is like the catalyst that allows that information to actually work for you. And that was just, and, you know, he just says, you know, if you've been really trying, you've been really wanting something, you've been really trying, and if you've ever been told you'll get it if you just want it bad enough, he says, I'm here to let you off the hook. It just isn't true. You need that catalyst of that philosophy. And I just thought that was a great light bulb for me because I see it in myself and others that are just really trying hard and they have access to really good information, but it's just not quite, they're just not they're just not seeing the results from that good information. And it's like, and I can see, yes, that philosophy piece that consistently is kind of just missing or at least wavering or something's not quite solid there the way he's talking about it. That would, I think, be that shifting catalyst so that information actually is applied effectively. Yeah, so that was cool. That was really cool. I'll pass it on to someone.
Well, what I've got from the chapter is changing the way you think and double your rate of failure. That gives you success. I said, okay, well, I had a little success this week. I've got my first leads from Instagram.
Woohoo!
Congrats.
It cost me a little bit of failure also, but and also what I got out of it is a simple daily disciplines. It's also the daily shortcut and the posting on Instagram and double your rate of failure. That was a really eye opener for me. So
That is fantastic, Via. Yeah, and I mean, because when he says like philosophy too, it's kind of like our beliefs, right? Like kind of what we believe. Sometimes we don't even realize what we believe are philosophy. And I found too that just by taking action and even not knowing, making mistakes and kind of failing forward, it's also the fastest way to even realize what our beliefs are that maybe are limiting or they're not really serving us, instead of just trying to figure them out by just thinking about them. Right? Yeah. But when we really like do that and double our rate of failure, we can really start to see, okay, you know what, there's a pattern here. There's a pattern here that anything like let's say a self-sabotage cycle, right? If we see ourselves going through certain emotions, but then we stop ourselves and it's constantly happening maybe at the same point where maybe, and I know too, like we all experience different things, but, for myself, I experience it too. Even, I'll have some success, but then I'll self-sabotage, right? And it can be a fear related to anything, a fear to maybe going out there and getting too big, or maybe, not being able to handle a lot of traffic or whatever it may be. And, I would find myself even stopping myself a lot of the time. But the only way I could see that is if I was taking action. And so even self-sabotage, it sounds like a bad thing, but it doesn't have to be, as long as we can have that awareness and bring it back down to this, this philosophy and kind of stay aware of what we're doing. So that's fantastic, Via, that you did that. Congratulations. Because part of what we said last week was that we're going to all also hold each other accountable during the course of this book, because while we read this book, we can actually all really change our life. The amazing thing is, I think it sounds like a small thing, right? Just do small steps every day. And I guess for a lot of people, they seem almost insignificant, right? That's why they're easy to do or easy not to do. And so we don't even really realize what we cost ourselves by not doing them, right? And then when we do them, we don't really necessarily see the result right away. But there's a funny thing where if we do them consistently, then things happen quickly. I mean, they still happen very quickly, because the stories he tells, like, he created a company and they went slowly. They didn't go out there and promote to everyone and do this big, marketing promotion. They did it quietly. And yet, kind of taking it slow, they made $100 million in their first year and broke records, and a year is not a long time, right? But in our head, we may think, okay, today and then tomorrow, and then by next week, if something doesn't happen, my life is over or whatever it may be. But it doesn't happen that way. It's more like, time actually does pass quickly. And then when we look back, it's kind of like, wow, I was able to do all that, even though it didn't seem that significant in the moment. So I find that really amazing how we can almost just play mind games where it's easy to rationalize not doing it. Alicia or Don, do you guys want to jump out? Even if you want to jump out of it.
I was letting the ladies go first, so.
Thank you, Don.
I'm a little outnumbered here, so,
We need your support, Don.
Yeah, but you're the book kahuna, dude. We need you.
Exactly.
Well, let me first say, okay, like I have not been reading this book, but I read it last year. And I'll tell you one thing that I got out of this book was that if you take it and you implement the core commitments and just do it every day, and now with what I'm doing with my Instagram and my Twitter, it happens, and it's happening, and I don't have any. I mean, it's working. So everything that he says, it's like Lao Tzu. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. So you take the first step, and you only make one step, but then you take 5 more steps, and you're like 10 feet away from where you started. So given time, you're eventually going to be miles away from the beginning point, and that's a good thing. So it's all about just taking action, making it work, and doing things consistently day in and day out, and being persistent. And I thought the book was great. I mean, this was I mean, I actually had my library buy the book for me so I could read it because they didn't have it. So.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Alicia?
I like how it talks about patience and faith, and it really, I think this, when like you read it and you have to read it again, you create a new awareness. And that's happening in a lot of different areas in my life, is to find more awareness. And once I'm aware, then you know kind of how to attack it. Just like Leslie was aware of, you know, you can invest 7 years, $2,000, and that's all, and you still make $1 million. And if you wait those 7 years and you do 2,000 and you're consistent, you'll still get it. Like the awareness of the difference of it, this difference, which one are you going to do, the choices that we make. And so we're always reevaluating and going back and finding that new awareness. So I like how, you know, I was gifted this book when I first got in this industry from a lady named Penny. And I didn't realize what I wanted to do yet. And she said, this helps. She gave me a little quote. This book is the way I build my business, my work, her day job, and her family life. And it was just little things every day. So it encompassed your whole life and creating more awareness in different areas that you weren't really aware of. So more awareness is my big takeaway of each chapter, each step I'm trying to create. And I think it's funny how chapter 4 starts, the secret of the penny, when I got it from Penny. But just creating that more awareness that we're seeking of our consistent daily thing, and how we can continue to do it in a bigger way. So I like how no matter if you read it today, read it a year ago, you're still going to have to come back and review it to find new awareness of what you're doing now, and apply it in a bigger way or a different way, or whatever you think would be more efficient to take that next step. That was my 2 cents, I guess, my penny.
Yeah, I love that, Alicia. Absolutely. I mean, that awareness, like, I'm really trying to also dig deep into my habits up until now. You know, even, you know, I'm implementing new changes and things like that, as to just focusing on daily disciplines. But I also, you know, I'm looking back and trying to see, you know, the negative kind of things that maybe I've been doing that maybe I've thought have been small or maybe insignificant, but maybe I've been doing them for a really long time and haven't realized how much they've actually affected my life. So it's, you know, it's funny because I'm not fully aware of all of it, right? And like you're saying, Alicia, it's like revisiting it and kind of going back to it. I'm able to learn more and more about myself, and why I may not be where I want to be yet, or maybe why I have achieved certain things and have not. And I love that chapter 3 is about the choice, right? We all have that choice, and that, you know, the chapter starts from with the quote from Shawshank, you know, get busy living or get busy dying. And you know, I love the story too about how he tells the story of his mom and how, you know, he himself implemented these things after, you know, being a beach bum and then a millionaire and all of this, and how friends would tell him that, you know, you live this, you know, you do these daily disciplines. And then he was talking to his mom, talking about how he became a millionaire that way. And she's like, I'm a millionaire too. Right. And then he was like blown away, not realizing that, you know, while maybe it appeared that his family struggled growing up and all of that, really, she was just, you know, really being prudent and, you know, really planning for her future. And no one had to know that, but she was doing things in her life too that were maybe small in the moment, but she became a millionaire doing that, right? And there's another book that he mentions that I've read before too, The Millionaire Next Door, where, you know, people live below their means and you would never even think that they would be millionaires. But they live with security, they live with, you know, millions in the bank, and, you know, it's not really about the material stuff, it's more about, you know, security and also experiences and more of that than it is about accumulating and, you know, competing with the Joneses next door, right? And I know personally with Romeo and I, part of the reason that we kind of felt and made that decision 5 years ago to quit our jobs and to just sell our condo and all of that was because we kind of realized we were doing that. We were just accumulating stuff and working for things that we didn't want. And, you know, living in this way of comparison, almost like who has what, and, you know, it was like a status thing, and we just didn't want it anymore. And so going into a life where we felt more that we were doing what we want, right? Going into a business for ourselves. And now, you know, living differently. I mean, we live in Costa Rica. We don't live this like lavish lifestyle, but we get to travel more. We're smarter with, you know, what we do, and have had, you know, the best experiences of my life, you know, before. And, you know, these books definitely affected us in the way that we think about it. But it makes me think too, you know, someone mentioned Dave Wood, and makes me think too that we all have the same amount of time in the day, right? Everyone has 24 hours in a day. And the reason that, you know, Dave Wood can do so much in a day, maybe not even do, but accomplish more, like maybe he can make more money in a day than another person, right? Whereas maybe both are working the same amount of time. It's really just the compound of what he's done before. It's a compound of all of those small things that he did that he failed through, because he failed a lot, right? And probably his rate of failure is higher than anybody. He probably just did more, and he did. I mean, he talks stories about going to Walmart, about, you know, approaching how many people, but how many people would really do that, right? The only reason that he's kind of where he is because he just went crazy with failure and just did everything he was told and just went for it. And now it seems as though he can accomplish more in a day, but it's not like some superhuman thing. It's just an accumulation of daily tasks, daily actions that have helped him to progress, right? And probably his philosophy as well, shifting with his beliefs and all of that. So I know that's, and this was also where, because Leslie, you mentioned it last time, this is where actually, I don't know, in my version, where he talked about the frogs in the pail with the butter or cream or whatever they created.
Oh, the cream? Oh, see, in the version I read online, that was like in the intro before chapter 1.
Oh, okay. There's like weird,
So
like
it's
very
changed up
different
a little
copies.
bit. Yeah.
Because I think even Alicia said that, yeah, she has a different copy too. So we have, certain things are kind of all over the place a little bit.
Because I think she's reading the one that I'm reading online. And then when I come home to look at it, it like is totally different.
So if you're watching, you know, maybe we're at different points in the book. But yeah, and, you know, it's just going more into...
Look, we have special guest stars today.
Special cat guest.
Too bad your little boy isn't there, Terry. He would love
Yeah, he would love it. Missed it. They're playing. One of the daily things that I've been doing since last week is I've been getting up, and before anything, I run down to our creek, because we live on 15 acres and we've got this beautiful creek which is kind of as wide as a river, really. And I've just been jumping in, just jumping in this cold water and then meditating after, like just all fresh and clear, and just really being clear about my goals for the day. And, you know, but I've been doing it every morning since last week, and it just feels so good. It's such a good way to start the day. And there's some mornings where I've gone, do I really want to go and jump in the cold water? And I'm like, nope, this is my daily action, and it feels good. It just sets me up for the day. And I've just let that little question come up, and then just been so clear that I'm just going to do that anyway. And, you know, it's just like I've made that decision that I'm going to do these daily things that support my well-being and me being effective for the day. And it's just like, I'm just doing them without it having to be a big choice each time. It's just like, oh yeah, no, I'm just off to do that. So yeah, I just love that feeling of just being in that rhythm and feeling like that's compounding as well, just little things like that. So that's just one of the things that I've been doing regularly this week.
I love that. I would want to do that.
Do we all have like a set routine? Like every day you must do this, like blog, email list, tweet, you know. So I thought, you know, I did that for a while when I was had a routine. Now I just say do routine, and it's like, okay, 20 minutes done, you know, and have that done. But I thought maybe we can compare what everybody's routine is, and I think that would be really neat to see how we can help make our routine more efficient or something like that. Because it seems like I've done that in the past and it always helped.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Because last time what we said was that we would each kind of figure out what we need to do ourselves and start tracking and start doing those things in our business. Because sometimes it might be a little bit different, I guess. But if you guys want, we could maybe at the end when we do our wrap up, because we'll also have results more and more coming in at that point, so we can see and compare and see what's working for who and for what. Because I've implemented some new things, and just since last week, I kind of shocked myself because I had this major block where because I have a lot of Instagram accounts, right? A lot. And I would overwhelm myself constantly, where I even started to think that I had too many, where I was like, I can't manage this, like there's too much, I can't post on them. And so I started to challenge myself to start posting regularly, thanks to Terry. Terry inspired me to do that. And then with reading this, you know, I made it a commitment. And so what I did was I started posting and started managing them. And then what I did was I started promoting our Facebook group. Except that I made an image, right, and I wrote a description, and I posted it on all of my accounts, and it took me 2 days, okay? And then I messaged Romeo, and then he's like, you know, and he couldn't tell me this before, only after I was done posting. He's like, you wrote the wrong link on the post.
Oh my gosh!
And I had written, because when you go, you know, it's facebook.com/whatever, and I put the group name, but I didn't put /groups/. And so I was sending everyone thousands and thousands of followers to some guy on Facebook. Some guy named Jamal, who happened to be from Toronto, which was weird. And so I was like, okay. So I just put the wrong link, and it took me all this time, and I was like mad. And then I was like, okay, just whatever. And I'm like, I have to repost. So I sat down and I remade the images, and just focusing and just doing it, I was able to repost. I deleted the old post and reposted with the right link. And it took me an hour.
On 100 accounts?
Like 80 accounts.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It took me like an hour and 6 minutes because I timed myself. I'm like, there's no way that it can take
on your phone.
No, if you would have had Mass Planner, you would have done it in one campaign and been done in like 2 seconds. So I'm going to show you the efficiency.
The point is though that I surprised myself in what I was able to accomplish in that time frame. Because all of a sudden my paradigm shifted where I'm like, this isn't a big deal. I can do this, right? And all of a sudden I was able to do that. But it was also because I had been posting, right? And I kind of have a thing where I want to manually do it. And maybe I need to let go of a little bit of that without having like programs post for me. But the point is that all of a sudden I was able to do more in a far shorter period of time because I had to fix the mistake that I made because I failed, right? And I just sent this guy all this stuff, and then I reposted. And in doing that, I still got a lot of Facebook group requests, meaning that people actually searched for it themselves. But then I really kind of exploded our group doing that. So yeah, I got like close to 80 new members in our group.
That is awesome.
In like a few days. Yeah. So it made me think of this. It made me think, it isn't really that I sat down and did all of that. It's because I did it before and it started to accumulate and I compressed time. And so it shows, that's how David Wood can accomplish so much more than, well, not necessarily do more, just get bigger results, right? But the time and all of that just compresses, right? They talk about that compression of time to get certain results, and then that compounds, right? And it just made me think of that, and I just shocked myself, right? Just because I made this one little mistake that helped me. It helped me because if I hadn't done that, then I'd still be, oh, I don't want to post on my accounts. It takes me so long, right? So I just wanted to share that as a win too, from what I've been able to accomplish since last week. So now I have like a new standard that I have to keep myself to, because I know I can already do it. Then it's just a matter of that philosophy, right? Then will I post? Because I know now I can do it in a certain amount of time, right? So there's that belief system where we have to just keep doing it. So I just wanted to share that. I thought it was really funny.
So you did the same picture, you didn't change like the colors or the name of the picture or whatever on the
Yeah. What I did was I created actually 20 different images on Canva. Same, like I did different photos, and then I just put the text on. But I rotated 20 images through posting on like the 80 accounts. So, and then I just changed the filters and stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get flagged, but it worked. So, yeah. Just wanted to share that. So if we can kind of, does anyone else want to come out and share, if you want to share some of your wins from daily actions that you've been completing or anything since last week? Just an accountability thing?
Well, I'm spending time really working hard to Facebook chat, right? So like every day I'm trying to spend like 20 minutes a day Facebook chatting. Last night I had 3, they haven't bought yet, but 3 promises of sales, so I have to follow up today. But it is amazing how when you just decide that you're going to do it and that you're going to be good at it, the results are so different. I spent the entire month of November Facebook chatting, and I swear I got maybe 1 sale. I spent 20 minutes last night Facebook chatting, and I got for sure 1 sale, and I think I got 2 more in 20 minutes versus, 30 hours of Facebook chatting that I did in November. Now, some of that's experience, but honestly, most of it's between your 2 ears. The knowledge that, hey, I'm going to probably get 2 or 3 sales in this 20 minutes that I'm chatting. And I just set myself up, pre-frame myself, if you will, that that's what's going to happen. And then somehow magically it happens after I'm doing the chatting. And I find that very interesting, because when I set myself up for success, I get success. If I set myself up to find all those perverts, I find tons of perverts that day, those weirdos. So it's all in what I'm looking for. Those are the people, even though they friended me 3 weeks ago or whatever, and I'm chatting them today, those are the people that I wind up chatting that day. And I just found them through, I have a VA that tells me who's ready to be chatted, right? So it's really strange that whenever I set my expectations, that's what's in my queue to start chatting that day. It's amazing.
That's amazing. Congrats, Leslie.
I must be one of the perverts because she sponsored me. So
No, I block those perverts, and you can see them. I mean, really, are you going to use a military man who's just gotten, I don't know, been in the news or whatever, and they try and use those pictures, and you're like, really, dude? What the heck do you think you're getting away with?
And there's only like 1 photo?
Or 4 or 5, but they all were posted yesterday, right? And then they have all women friends. And so yesterday I was chatting this one guy, and he's like, what are you up to? Oh, I'm friending all your friends. Why are you doing that? I can tell them that you're a fake. And then all of a sudden he blocks me. It was fun playing with people today. But yeah, it's when you set up expectations that you're going to do something, it's amazing that it actually happens.
That's amazing. I love that. So it's like setting an intention before doing it. Yeah, that's a really, I love that idea. That we can even how Terry's saying how her morning routine, and then having that little battle before, but then saying, no, this is actually going to help me feel so much better and set me up for success for the rest of the day. That's fantastic. That's definitely, I guess part of the philosophy building or shifting or belief changes or anything like that. So that's amazing. I'm going to do that too. And just make sure I don't post wrong.
This is Mattingly. He wanted to say hi.
Oh, hello. Such a cutie.
He hates the dogs, so like he doesn't get too much love. So when the dog's like not around, he always comes out.
Oh, they compete for you.
Yeah. But
So
they're going to get mad at me for this, but I'll tell you anyway. So remember when all the Instagram accounts went down and we were losing our accounts? Well, we didn't know why, so I took the links off of all of my accounts just because I thought that might be what was happening. And out of 6 accounts, I ended up losing 1. Okay, the other account came back. And then I went on vacation, and I have never put the links back onto the accounts. So now I've gained like thousands of new followers. Actually, the Corgi one is going to hit 10,000 within the next couple of days. And the Battlefield one is over 7,000 as of yesterday. But I didn't put the links back on yet, so that's what I'm doing today is to get that going. But like I said, it's working. It's working. You do it day in and day out. And I still haven't switched over to Follow Liker, and I'm going to have one account that's at 10,000 already just by using Instagram and me manually doing it like every day. And I don't do it just once, like follow the people who like Corgi people that are following me. I'll go in like 2 or 3 times and max it out. And just you can do it when you don't have 100 accounts. Do it on each account like 2 or 3 times a day and just max it out. And like I'm getting with overall, yesterday was my best day of followers if you count Twitter too, like 834 followers through Instagram and Twitter. And the Twitter account just hit 30,000. Now it's at like 32,000 as of like yesterday. So, and if you figure that LT has 18,000 and I've got 32,000 Twitter followers, I'm happy.
That's amazing, Don. Congratulations. That's a lot of Twitter followers. That's fantastic. Well, just that, proves, daily action, right? Daily action compounds. And it's amazing. So fantastic. Anyone else want to jump out before we close out the hangout? Okay, so what we'll do is, you want to continue with 2 chapters, the next 2 chapters? Is that good? I don't know how long they are. So the next ones are chapter 4 and chapter 5. This is a good amount. So master the mundane and then slow down to go fast. That one's a good one. I like that one. I already read there. So thank you guys so much. I so appreciate you. I love our weekly meetings here. I really get so much out of this, and I'm loving the book. And if you're watching this, if you want to input anything, definitely join us if you can. But if you have comments or feedback or anything, you can definitely write it, and we can always bring it out and kind of discuss it on the next one. And also, as we're dig your well before you're thirsty, I like that. I was actually just going to say that, we can already start compiling kind of ideas for the next round. So when I put the poll together for the next book, maybe we'll do like 5 choices. And so if anyone here has any books that you really are like just itching to read next, start thinking about what book you would want. Definitely, I think here, because we're the ones that are here live, first kind of choice. So if you want to start thinking about that, we just started this, but just kind of a future pacing so people can order the book and things like that. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. This is fantastic. And so chapter 4 and 5 next week, and see you guys live next Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, Kat.
Bye.